Hello and welcome to the 12th episode of Pedz' Game Shack. Today we have a new guest with us who goes by the name of Aaron. How are you doing,
Hello.
dude?
I'm very good, Pedz. Hello, hi. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, no problem. I'm glad to have you on. For those who have listened to the Twitch cast, the G Arcade Twitch cast, that is, Aaron has taken part on that several times, as well as doing his own podcasts with people from Games Radar and G Arcade. So you may have even heard his voice before.
Yeah, you're going back a very long way, referencing the my podcast. Do you know what? I dug one of those out the other day, and it was absolutely terrible. So
why was it terrible? Why was it terrible? Was it like the way
well,
you all talk about stuff?
Obviously very amateurish and 15-year-old internet boy hype. But I remember us, the specific clip was us being very hyped about PlayStation Home. And we were like, oh my God, it's going to be so great because we'll build our own virtual homes. And we'll be like, oh, do you want to play on Call of Duty? Because if so, we'll just walk over to the Ark and we'll have our avatars and it'll be really cool.
And it turned out PlayStation Home was shit.
The naivety of youth, eh?
Yeah.
I wanted to believe. So anyway, I've got experience of being on rubbish podcasts. So
hey, my podcast isn't rubbish, you bastards. I'll have you know, I have millions of listeners.
So I know what not to do.
Ah, right. See, that's understandable. That's fair enough. That's completely fair enough. But yeah, the important thing here is, for those who, well, not the important thing, but for those who are new to the podcast, I'll explain what we're going to be doing. We have 3 sections of the podcast, segments, whatever you want to call them. First one is currently playing. The second is top news, where we discuss usually 1 or 2 topics of gaming news.
The top news, just the absolute top ones.
It's ones that I tend to, when I look up news and think of something that's worthwhile to talk about, whereas you mentioned something and I think that's worthwhile to talk about, the Xbox stuff. And the third section is called We Play Together. Nice and simple, very creative, because I'm a very creative person. And this way we discuss a game that we have both decided to play, and this was kind of not quite that because you'd already finished the game, and then I started playing there recently, but you thought it would be a good game to talk about. So
I appreciate you bending the rules slightly for my benefit, Pedz, because I'm very excited for this game we will be talking about.
Nice. Well, as I said, the first section is currently playing. So Aaron, what are you currently playing?
Okay, well, I'm fresh off of finishing the new Sonic game, Sonic Frontiers. I had a good time with it. I was surprised. Have you played much of it yet yourself?
I haven't actually played any of it. The reason
is this a game that you own? Have you bought it and just not played it yet?
Well, technically, yes, I bought it today, but it's for one of the kids for Christmas. So.
Okay, don't say that too loudly. Do you know what? I think this will be a good game for them. So I'm an absolutely huge Sonic fan. First game I ever played was
Sonic 06.
It was Sonic 06, and ever since then I've been absolutely enamored with the Blue Blood. No, it was Sonic the Hedgehog 1 when I was like 4 years old, and I had all the Sonic games on the Mega Drive. I had all the Sonic comics, biggest nerd. And then I think around Sonic Adventure came out, and I was like, oh, this isn't that good. I enjoyed it. I got very hyped for Super stuff, but yeah. And then obviously watching from the sidelines, the games go down in quality. I enjoyed Sonic Generations, but Sonic Frontiers, yeah, it's interesting. I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. It's still a little bit janky, a little bit rough around the edges. I don't envy Sonic Team. It's difficult to make a 3D Sonic game, you know? You got to go fast, but the faster you go, the harder it is to see where you're going and control Sonic, and it doesn't feel very good. And I do think this game makes some very bad mistakes, especially in the UI. It kind of feels like they haven't played a game in the last 10 years. They haven't really learned any lessons. And there's no drop shadow when you jump, i.e. it's really hard to see where you're going to land, which for a 3D platformer is really unforgivable. The story is a bit nothing. The but the running around feels good. The levels feel good enough. I just wish it was a bit more Sonic-y. It's just very bland. It's very nothing. You wouldn't know the Sonic enemies were there. I just want to be fighting Robotnik in Green Hill Zone. Just give me the same game over again. But yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It makes some weird mistakes. I think the next one will be okay. I would say 7-ish out of 10 for me.
Well, 7 is for my perspective. 7 is above average. Average is 5.
I'm being a bit generous. I am being a little bit generous.
There's nothing wrong with that. If you enjoyed the game, like you can, like I was talking on stream the other day to people, and I was talking about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I was playing Pokemon Violet, and we were just talking about. I think it was Press Start Online. I'm not sure if that's what it was, and their head and heart score.
I think that is exactly them, yeah. And I remember. I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's a good way to go by it, because it's like I was saying about Pokemon. You've got the head score, which the game is technically a mess and so on and so forth. So it shouldn't really get the high score. But I was having a lot of fun, so my heart score would be higher than that. And it seems like that you've come to a nice balance between, like, there are issues, but you really enjoyed certain aspects or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. It's probably
nice score,
it's probably head score 5.5, heart score 7. But on the whole of things, I'm willing to give it a 7 because it's decent enough for a Sonic game. I mean, I do think it falls into that trap of the old trope of just hold right. I think in 3D Sonic games, it's like just hold forward and just pay attention to if you need to press square for a homing attack or the right trigger to do a boost, or click the left stick to do rings, and it just becomes a quick time event for the whole game kind of thing. But it does a good job of making that fun for the most part and keeping you hyped and looking pretty. So, if you'll know if you like this. I don't think it'll win any staunch Sonic hater over, but if you're sort of interested in this, you'll probably like it.
That's cool, because I am interested in playing it myself. Like, I've played the majority of 3D Sonic games, and some are okay, some are bad, some are very, very bad. But overall, the games have some charm about them. I think the biggest issues are they tend to have awful gimmicks. This one doesn't, from what I've seen of it, doesn't really have a gimmick other than it being open zone.
Yeah, exactly. I think that is its gimmick, and thankfully, because I think then their lust for gimmick that has been satiated by an open world, they can kind of tackle some other challenges. I mean, I think the open world then creates problems in itself, which is how to navigate it sort of in a fun Sonic way. You end up having these weird sort of incongruously designed floating pipes to grind on and loop-de-loops to run around, which don't really fit the level very well, and they're sort of just weirdly hanging there. And also they're often times necessary to get to another bit of the level. You have to use these, but it's really difficult to actually see which one you need to be getting on, because they go all over the place and all around the houses and up, down, left, right, and center before they actually spit you out. And thus it just feels sort of difficult actually to navigate the open world and get where you're going. Also, weirdly, you can fish for everything you need in the game. You need however many who's it's to get 20 whatchamacallits to open up the level, so that you can get 4 keys to get the 3 Chaos Emeralds, and so on and so forth. Partridge in a pear tree. There we go, festive. You can get all of that stuff just by fishing. So I ended up where I got to the last level. I had enough fishing tokens that I could just sit there, and I did this all on stream. And I just sat there fishing for about 2 hours, and I got everything I needed and just kind of basically walked to the end of the level, which I love. Yeah, great. More games should do that.
It's a good way of getting around it, but obviously it's going to come down to if you enjoy doing the fishing, I guess. I was gonna say the last fishing I did was in Sonic Adventure 1 with Big the Cat, and it was awful. It was really bad.
Hey, the last fishing I did was in Sonic Frontiers 1 with Big the Cat. And it wasn't very good. It's not good fishing. It's like there's no timing really on it. Or the one bit of timing is very generous and very easy to do. It's not good fishing mechanic, and it loops around what you catch in it. There's no randomness to what you're catching. It literally has a rotation of what you're catching. So it's kind of a weird addition. I don't know why it's in there.
Right.
And also, just to say, the going back to the main game, the parry mechanic has no timing at all, and you just hold it down. Okay, I think that's everything I have to say about Sonic Frontiers. Okay. What have you been playing, Pedz?
Well, I'm going to say before that, I'm actually wrong. The last fishing I did was in Fable Anniversary. The last fishing in a Sonic game I did was in Sonic Adventure 1.
Okay, nice.
And the fishing in there was weird as well. You had to press a button and I don't know. Basically, you had to press A when the fish started pulling. You had to leave go of A, and if you didn't do it fast enough, the line would snap, and you'd have to start again. It was a little annoying sometimes because it'd be very unpredictable. Like, have you been playing anything else before we move on to me?
Okay, I have been playing a bit of Death Stranding at the moment. I thought I would give that a go. I thought it would be funny to play a game I thought I would absolutely hate on my birthday, because on paper this looked like an absolutely terrible game. Boring, walking, overly engineered systems, mechanics sort of designed almost to frustrate you. Kojima wanky bullshit story where he thinks he's the most clever guy in the world because, oh my god, the smartphones are handcuffs. Like, you have to handcuff yourself to be on smartphones. Oh, what does that say about us? Blah. And oh, that's so deep, dude. And so anyway, I thought I would hate it. Started playing a bit of it, and I was like, "Oh, actually, this is all right." And I was sort of on board. He sort of won me over with his characters being called Die Hard Man, and he's Sam Porter Bridges because he's carrying packages and bridging the world, and his mum's the president. And the gameplay is just weirdly calming and soothing. It feels satisfying to use your tools effectively. It's nice connecting the world and seeing like buildings and things other players have made to make your life easier. And it's in short little bursts, it's okay. I must also note at this point, both Sonic Frontiers and Death Stranding I checked out of my local library and have paid nothing for, so that goes a long way as well to winning me over, in that I have no financial ties to either of these. So with those caveats, yeah, it's all right.
Are you playing the director's cut? I still stand by.
I am playing the director's cut. It just doesn't say director's cut on the box.
Right. Okay.
The director very much had his way the first time around. That's a very facetious way of saying I'm playing the original.
Right. I was going to say like I very much agree with what you say.
No, he got to cut that any way he wanted. That is not.
Yeah. Exactly. I was going to say, like, when we were doing the Twitch cast and the director's cut was announced, the first thing you said was, "This isn't the director's cut. This is someone coming in and pulling the reins." Like, basically,
I want to see an editor's edit.
That's what it is. An editor's edit. Because there's no way he didn't add the things he wanted to add, considering it's his company, his game, so on and so forth.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, it all seems fine. I don't know if I'll get to the end of it. I like to chuck it on here and there when I'm in the mood for it. I'm not too invested, so that's kind of a nice. I like to not be too invested in it. I think that's the way for me to approach a game like this, and for me to come out feeling positive about it. So that's good.
Nice.
Have you got any Death Stranding thoughts? Have you played it yourself?
I haven't played Death Stranding. Basically for the same reasons as you. Also, every Kojima game I've played personally, I've not enjoyed, which is Metal Gear Solid.
Well,
maybe some
yeah.
others too.
I had time for Metal Gear Solid 5. I sort of picked it up when I first got a PlayStation because it was cheap, and I was like, "I'll go on, let's see what the fuss is all about." Not having really had PlayStations in the past, and I was kind of impressed by it. And yeah, the systems were a bit clunky, but I was impressed at how like deep they were and it was kind of fun to be able to set your helicopter to blare out Maneater as it came to pick you up to get you out of the firefight. Oh, here she comes! You know, you're like, "Oh, come on, watch out, boy, she'll chew you." You know, like that was fun. That was cool. And so yeah, I sort of like with the notion that I don't have to pay for it. Oh well, yeah, I'll give it a go. And sort of on a similar vibe to sort of segue to the other game I've been playing, which is the other way I sort of get away with not really paying too much to play loads of video games. Is Sommerville, which is the new game by the guy who made Limbo and Inside. Again, not one of those ones I would have probably paid for, but it's on Game Pass, so you can just jump in and check it out. As an aside, I feel like I am the most up to date with my gaming I have ever been really at the moment, partially due to like services like xCloud and being able my local library being very good with modern games. I'll probably even get to Bayonetta 3 and God of War 2 by the end of the year, which is amazing for me. But yeah, no, back to Sommerville. Yeah, pretty much what you'd expect. One of those sort of 2D walky puzzly action adventures. You die a lot, you bash your head against the wall a lot, you play with the physics, you think, is this how it should work, or is it just glitching out because it's their first 3D version of these and they're sort of struggling with perspective and showing where you should go? And so do I keep trying this thing, or is the game just not working the way it should because it feels like it should be doing this because I've played a lot of video games before and, you know, like, oh, okay, I'll go look it up on YouTube. Oh, okay, it was that thing. It was just I was doing it all the way, and okay, that's annoying. So there you go. That's Sommerville. I'm being a little harsh on that. It looks very pretty, and if you like that sort of game, you like this. I may not finish it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, are you gonna finish it? Because you seem to not really be that into it when I popped into your stream yesterday and you were playing it.
So I think that I could say I don't know. I don't know. I feel like it was probably only like another 3 or 4 hours to finish it. The story's intriguing. I won't spoil it too much, but you know, there's like possibly an alien invasion that happens early on. I do think they do quite effective storytelling with the opening 5 minutes of the game. Which is enough to get me to see it off. I think, yeah, I wish that text walkthroughs were easier to find and navigate these days, because I hate watching YouTube videos and they always seem to be YouTube videos, and any sort of guides are done over like several different web pages, or Google doesn't bring them up, or so. All that to say, I could see myself completing this if I had an easily accessible guide with me, so that when I got to one of those puzzles where it's just like, oh come on, like I know what I'm supposed to do, the game's just kind of not really letting me do it or whatever, I can just check the guide to see, you know, if I'm right or not.
Yeah.
So maybe, who knows? Tune in to twitchtv.al1/al1, you know, find out.
Why not? Yeah, well, the one thing I was going to say, the one thing I was going to say about keeping up with games is, like, the most recent game I'm playing is obviously Pokémon, but generally speaking, I'm not really keeping up with games. Like, I've been playing Gears 5, I've been playing, which is like a few years old. I've been playing freaking Fable Anniversary. You know, most of the games I've personally been playing have been older games. It's because I got so much to play. I'm trying to like get through my backlog and play new games. Which is why a lot of the time, if you notice, I like pop in stream and say, "Hey, dude, I'm gonna lurk because I don't want spoilers for these games." And it's like, because you're always playing like new games. And it's like,
I don't want Pokemon Blue spoilers, so I'm just gonna lurk. Not got around to that yet. Ocarina of Time, Sheik is Ganon.
Sheik is Ganon.
Yeah. Come on, it's like what? It's like 15 years old. That's fun. You can say that now.
Yeah.
Totally. I agree. There's never been a better time to play video games, and it's so nice that you have you can easily access the older games.
Yeah, agreed. But yeah, I tend to like, because you're playing the more modern stuff that I want to play. I tend to not stick around as much, but when you're playing something that I've played or I don't want to play, then I'll stop in the stream for a while and have a chat, because I don't care about spoilers then, which is weird. But like, obviously, if I'm not interested in a game, because like when I tend to go into streams, I'm not there specifically to watch the game. I'm there for the chat and the bants, as people say. But I tend to just
that's kind of what I'm there for when I am streaming anyway, to be honest. I'm not really there to be like, hey everyone, look at this video game, and I'm just kind of there to be like, oh hi, this video game's shit. Why am I playing it?
But yeah, that's the thing. Like, I tend to go into streams for that kind of thing. But obviously, if it's a game I want to play, I want to avoid the spoilers. If it's a game I don't care about, I'll go in and just have a laugh. And then sometimes I'm interested in the game and play it myself.
Play a video game? Who does that?
I've actually played a lot of Pokemon this week. I've streamed most days. Twice a day, which is not like me.
I enjoyed seeing a bit of Pokemon, a little bit from yourself, a little bit more from other streamers. Not for lack of you. That's not a read on. Yeah, if only you'd streamed more, I could have seen more of that as more our time zone compatibility and when I'm active. But it's been fun seeing that. Like, I'm not super interested in Pokemon these days. I'm red or blue for life. And I will fight you. But it's been nice to see a bit more.
I would agree with you, but Gold and Silver and Crystal came out, and they are better.
I mean, yeah, true. And you're allowed in the club. You're just sort of lower tier members. You're like silver membership. But you can come in because, the day and night cycle revolutionized Pokemon.
So did allowing the Pokemon to have sex.
You could finally, the Pokemon finally fucked. Nintendo revealed to a bated breathed audience that the Pokemon fuck.
And that is what is most important.
And lo, Shigeru Miyamoto came down from the mountain. Thumbs up, lads. They fuck.
He didn't have his thumbs up. He was just putting his finger through his thumb and other finger, going, "This is what they do, boys."
nodding, smiling and nodding as he maintained eye contact.
As we tend to go for an hour, we've been going for 25 minutes. And I think we should move on to the news.
Yeah, no one cares what you're playing anyway. Just give me the headlines. Don't talk about it. Bish, bash, bosh. What are you playing?
I rarely talk about what I'm playing, to be honest, because I'm more interested in finding what other people are playing. I'll talk about it on occasion.
It's the Pedz podcast, mate. What are you playing?
Yeah.
Three games. Pokemon.
Pokemon Violet. Dead Island Remastered.
Yeah.
And...
was it a Gears? Was it a Fable?
Gears 5. Fable I finished. Finished Fable Anniversary. Right. It was my 52nd game I finished this year, I think.
Oh, one for every day of the week.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. Like, one for every week of the year, but... But that's a lot for me. That is a hell of a lot for me. I've actively gone up my way to try and finish more games, because usually I play a lot of games and I finish very few. But this year I've been like, no, fuck that shit.
Yeah,
I'm
if
finishing my
only.
games.
Yeah, if you could just finish enough games, that's where happiness lies.
Well, no, I was thinking if I finish some games, maybe I'll actually slowly start to complete some of my backlog.
Yeah. And that's where happiness lies, having no gaming backlog.
Exactly. That is where happiness lies. And the good thing is I've played games that I've never played before, like God of War and God of War 2 from however many years ago. I bought the games, the HD collection in 2009.
Month, wasn't it? Right.
2009,
right.
I bought the PS3 collection, and I only finished them recently because, like, I started God of War back in 2009, and I played like the first level. I don't even think I finished it. So, and then I like never went back to it, and I thought this year, fuck it, I'm starting God of War.
Nice.
And I did, and then I played the second one straight after it because I really enjoyed them.
Nice. So anyway, we weren't going to talk about the games you played.
Yeah, we weren't going to, but we did a little. So we'll move over to a little taster. Maybe I'll actually talk about my games more if I do a game of the year kind of thing for the year. But then again, my game of the year for this year would be difficult because I haven't played that many games from this year. So we'll see.
You can give us a personal one as well. That's always fun.
Yeah, I know exactly what's going to be my game of the year for this year, and I know what's going to be my what would I say? Underrepresented game of the year or something. I'd have to say. So I know what that would be for definite. As I finished the game like 5 or 6 times within a week.
Tune in to find out.
Yeah, tune in. Not next time. I'll probably. I don't know. Anyway, top news. Top news is where we talk about some news that we deem interesting.
Give us a headline, Pedz.
The headline.
What's the Pedz lines?
Pedz line is Xbox is trying to buy Activision Blizzard, but they may get fucked over by the FTC.
But they ain't making it easy, are they?
No, they're not.
Those meddling commissions that have gotten away with it.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is sort of fascinating. It's not really sort of stayed in the news ever since it was first announced. Sony are really kicking up a fuss. You can't necessarily blame them. If they can mess with their competitor, they probably will. Yeah. But I think the big news this week is that it was the FTC, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Who announced that they are looking into it a bit harsher. They may block it. I think there's a bit of a surprise coming from the American market. It was fairly, it wasn't a huge shock that the EU and the UK were looking into it a little bit more. But I think that the fact that the US are now even going to be saying, "Hold on a minute, is this anti-competitive?" is interesting. It's leading to a lot of other interesting things coming out, such as Microsoft even offering contractually to keep Call of Duty on Sony platforms for a number of years. I think they've said 10 years. I reckon the deal might be Call of Duty doesn't go on to Game Pass for 5 years or so. That's just my little weird prediction. But and also Microsoft this week as well, it's come out among hearings that Microsoft have said that they will not be shipping a new console before 2028, which I don't think is a huge shock, but it's noteworthy that this is the first we've heard of anything to do with the next set of consoles.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if Sony said something similar, but
it was redacted in the documents, in the public documents. They said we're not releasing a number for years, but it's not hard to say that it's probably going to be the same thing. No mention of obviously no mention of whether that is inclusive of the sort of half-snap consoles. If there'll be an Xbox X Pro, probably there won't be. I reckon this gen. I think those PlayStation Pros and the X was a response to like the 4K TV suddenly hit the market and the consoles couldn't really do 4K. No home console could do 4K. So it's like, well, what, you know? So I think the half-step consoles were in response to the rush of 4K TVs. I don't think that will happen this time around. So yeah, shock horror. I predict we're not going to see a new Xbox before 2028 as well. I don't think there'll be any new one. I mean, also among these hearings, or I'm saying hearings because that sounds more authoritative. I think it's just the arguments being put forward via text. You're getting fantastic quotes, like Microsoft saying stuff like, Sony have many more exclusives than us, many of which are higher quality. So, like, slap that on the box, Sony. There you go, right in the PlayStation 5 box. There's your quote.
Do you know one of my favorite things that was said to the CMA, I think it's called, the British one or the European one?
Yeah.
Sony said, faced with weaker competition, Microsoft would be able to increase the console and game prices for Xbox users, including those that have switched from PlayStation, and increase the price of Game Pass. Coming from Sony, who are fucking up in the prices of everything, have £70 games.
It's a real weird one, isn't it? Because
we worry they'll up the price like we are doing.
They both have kind of arguments here, really, don't they? Like, if Call of Duty in its current form, its current popularity, it does go exclusive to Microsoft, does go exclusive to Xbox, that could be a problem for Sony. I think Microsoft do have a point in that, as it stands, they are the smallest of the three games company. Obviously, not on a corporation level. It's just, if you look at games turnover, I think Sony is number one, followed by Nintendo, followed by, I think if you include software only, I think EA, or there's I think Tencent comes in above them as well, but Microsoft slots in there. And you only have to look at the sales of PlayStation in the Asian markets and how it does gangbusters everywhere to see that, like, maybe it wouldn't be a death blow, but also I have no illusions to the fact that I said earlier how great Game Pass is at the moment. We're in that early honeymoon stage where they are getting everything they can on there as cheaply as possible. They want to get people through the door. They want to get people signed up to the service, while this is just to get people into their infrastructure. Do you remember how good Netflix was in the early Netflix days, when they could just get any program they wanted? Because streaming rights, what are those? Yeah, well, yeah, you can have them. Well, yeah, sure. Well, you'll pay us for something that, no one's giving. Yeah, go on. And Netflix had everything. And then all of a sudden it had, like, other people sort of made competitors to Netflix. I do think that in Game Pass's case, the danger is it's the opposite. They become a monopoly and can ramp the prices up and dictate everything. Yeah. So that is an issue, but what am I going to do? I'm just playing video games, mate. I just get the fun video games and put them on your thing that I pay £10 a month for, and I'll play them.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, obviously they are going to up the prices at some point. I think there was something said not only by Phil Spencer, at some point they are going to have to increase the price. And they are going to have to increase the price, especially if this $69 billion deal goes through. I'm not going to say it's going to increase loads. Even if it increases £1, it's still increasing. But like you said, this could be more of a monopoly than like Netflix and stuff, because there's Netflix, Disney Plus, Paramount Plus, and blah blah blah. There's loads of different things, and that's a pain in the ass. And the simple fact is it'd be good not to have that issue with consoles. Like, it's a bit of a pain in the ass. I've got PlayStation Plus and I've got Xbox Game Pass. It'd be cool to only need one, but competition is also needed.
I'll tell you right now, Pedz, you do only need one, mate.
True.
I'll play on PlayStation Plus and Xbox Game Pass. You do only need one. I'm gonna say it. There's some
good stuff on PlayStation Plus, man.
Yeah, you already played it. Anything good on there, you've already played, or you haven't, because you haven't played fucking Wind Waker.
I
That's
played
still
Wind
got a
Waker and
cellophane
Wind
around
Waker
it.
HD. How dare you?
Okay. But yeah.
Did you know
Okay.
that in that Tetra is actually Ganon?
Yeah.
Just like Sheik. It's really strange. But yeah, Game Pass is cracking. I don't know.
For now.
For now, it's good, yeah, but I can't see it going
But yeah,
bad,
what
but
a
I can see it
great
going
December
expensive
as
at some
well.
point.
What a great Game Pass December as well. Like, some great things coming on. And in the new year, Monster Hunter. Whoa.
Yeah, Monster to Rise. I'll actually play it then. I haven't played it.
Yeah,
I've wanted
same.
To. I've got a couple of Monster Hunter games, and it's like I want to play them, but I don't want to play them solo. I want to play them with people. So I haven't played them.
Well, there we go. Oh, let's play Monster Hunter in the new year. New year, new you, new Monhun. All right. Other news story or news noteworthy story, if you've said everything there is to say about the merger.
Yeah, there's nothing much I can say other than we'll just have to keep our eyes out, all of us, to see what happens. Either way, it's going to be interesting. Maybe.
Yeah. So other thing, new Mario Brothers movie trailer. Do you remember new Super Mario Brothers for the DS? They're making a movie and they've released a new trailer for it. Did you see it?
Yeah, no, I haven't actually seen the trailer. I've seen like snippets of it, but I haven't watched it because I just haven't had time between streaming and other stuff.
Where do you find like
2.5
minutes? So you can't find that anywhere these days, can you?
No, I can't. Usually, I'm either pooping, eating, sleeping.
Imagine a Mario Brothers movie. It's that it checks all the boxes. You got your 2D side scrolling bit. You've got your cart on Rainbow Road.
Yeah, that's the thing. I saw like snippets.
You got your
like
Let's Go.
Smash Brothers bit.
Jack. Probably Jack Black is great as Bowser. Sure, I think it'll be fine. It's a kids' movie. It's all right.
The main thing is
Chris Pratt's voice is okay. It's fine.
The main question is it going to be as good as the 90s Mario Brothers movie?
Well, what can be? What can be?
I literally, the last time I watched that film, I watched it for a podcast. I watched it for me, Jazz, Matt, and Earfolds were doing, was called Pugsley's Pugsley Crew Reviews, something like that. Pugsley's Crew Reviews. So we would watch a film and Pugsley's Crew Views. So we would watch the film and talk about it as we were watching it. Well, the day before, the kids wanted to watch the Mario film. So I watched the Mario film with the kids. The next day, I watched it with the guys. Afterwards, I literally barely spoke. I was like, yeah, I feel so down after watching this 2 days in a row. It literally made me feel like absolute shit. And I've not watched it since because I felt
Get that on the poster. Get that on the poster, lads. Well, I haven't watched it twice in 2 days, so I can't vouch for your mileage may vary, but I have a soft spot for it and I think it's kind of fun. And I'm glad it got made.
They stabbed Yoshi.
But okay, yes,
they stabbed Yoshi. The little tiny Velociraptor.
You got to get Cooper City. It's a tough place to live. Poverty, crime. It's okay. And speaking of video game adaptations, dramatic adaptations. Last thing I want to mention
before you say anything.
Go on.
Do you think Mario's movies are genuinely going to be better received than the Sonic films?
I think no. I think it'll like it's what? It's 86 minutes long. I think it'll be fine. It'll hit the notes. I think that the Sonic films will be seen. I think critically, Mario will do a bit better than Sonic, but I think in terms of the zeitgeist in the popular opinion, I do think Sonic will be seen as the better movie in the longer run. Sonic's just a cooler character in the end, right? He's harder to adapt into 3D, right? Nintendo have Sega there. Like they were lucky they had a slow plumber that could do fucking anything when the 3D revolution came along, because Sega were hoisted by their own petard with attitude when that came around. But when it comes to a dramatic adaptation, Sonic's a cool guy. He's got attitude. He's fun. Mario's just a plumber, a dude.
Do you think he's going to say get the lead out because plumber?
Yeah.
No. Plumber, plum bum, lead.
Yeah, that's where that comes from. That's where the word plumber comes from.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Cool.
That's why I said it. That's why I said, do you think he's going to say get the lead out?
Oh, a minute. Okay, well, do I think Mario is going to say get the lead out in the Mario Brothers movie? No, I do not. Feel free to mark my words there.
I don't think
okay,
so.
video game dramatic adaptations.
1 second. Do you think he'd say get the lead out and then whip out his cock?
No.
I don't know why I'm being so stupid.
No, I don't think he's going to do that in the Mario movie. Okay, the other video game dramatic adaptation I would like to mention is the Splinter Cell adaptation that the BBC has made and is airing this week. I believe is it maybe December 6th? I might be lying. If you care, look it up yourself. It's going to be a radio play of Splinter Cell.
Is it based
on BBC4 with a guy from the Archers in it? And I believe Sam Fisher says, "Get the Splinter Cell out," and he whips out his cock
and slaps his missus across the face.
Yeah, but obviously the Foley artists just get like a big wet sausage. How was that? Is it my blue Yeti paying for itself?
Genuinely, isn't Splinter Cell a book series by Tom Clancy?
No, it was not created by Tom Clancy. It was endorsed by him. I think he later wrote a couple of novels, but it was created by Ubisoft and then endorsed by Tom Clancy to slap his name on it. I don't know. I think one of the other ones was it Ghost Recon or Rainbow Six?
Yeah.
I think one of those was originally a book, but I do think Splinter Cell was originally created by Ubisoft and then endorsed by Tom Clancy. And I know that because I went to a pub quiz, or bar trivia as it's called over here, and they had a video game question. And the video game
pub
question
quiz sounds so much better than bar trivia.
It fucking sucks, but we've only got a few minutes left of recording, so don't get me started. And the question was, which video game series was endorsed but not created by, or Splinter Cell was endorsed by what author, but not created by him? And obviously it was Tom Clancy. So there we go.
Yeah, well, that is something I did not know. Cool bar trivia. So they're actually basing it on the game then?
I believe they are. I believe the plot follows an older Sam Fisher training the next Splinter Cells. Are they a Splinter? Is Sam Fisher a Splinter Cell? He's training Splinter Cell juniors to go off. I think that's what the plot follows. So it's not necessarily following a plot.
Does Sam Fisher pop out of his butt just like Cell from Dragon Ball Z?
I'm going to guess no, but you'll have to tune in to find out.
They're not Splinter Cell juniors then. People will get my reference, or would they be in Cell and Splinter Cell? That's what matters. Sure. But so it's going to be not really anything to do with anything that's been done before. It's going to be a brand new story for Sam Fisher and his Paddy
It's
Wans.
going to be about not
Paddy
really
Wans,
anything that's been done before. Exactly that, Pedz.
But I don't mean nothing that's been done before. I mean like nothing.
Nothing. Think about something. It's not about that. You can't.
Right.
You can.
Right.
I know nothing more. I've literally exhausted my knowledge. I just thought it would be funny to note that there is a radio play of Splinter Cell airing on BBC4. Has a guy from the Archers in it. listen if you want. I won't be listening.
Because you're in America and you're not allowed to listen to the BBC over there.
It's illegal. They shoot me on sight.
You do. They're traitors. They're not traitors. They'll say, you're a traitor. You're an American now. You're not allowed to like anything British because the British were bastards and we got our independence from them. And that's the law. I learned that in a pub quiz. Right, as you said, we haven't got that long left. So let's move on to We Play Together.
Mm-hmm.
Which, the game that we played together, sort of, was Pentiment. I think that's what it's called, Pentiment, with a T.
Pentiment, yes, Pentiment.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because reading and like the legibility of scripts and stuff plays a very big role in this game.
Yeah. How do you mean? Like the actual text itself is difficult to read, easy?
Well, I guess I think. I'll. Do you know what? I'll explain that a bit later. Why don't you set us up, Pedz? Pretend I've said nothing. What is Pentiment?
Pentiment is a game. You play it.
Fantastic. 10 out of 10. No. Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
I'm quite early on in the game of Pentiment. Basically, it's a game in where you are a aspiring artist who is currently doing work in a church. No.
Yeah, it's an abbey. It's
an abbey,
where the monks live, and you work in a scriptorium, which is the old workshops for how books were produced back in the day. They gave it to monks, and you would literally write it out by hand, blah blah blah. And you're working in there while you're working on your masterpiece.
Yeah, if memory serves, monks tended to be, for a long time ago, the only people could read and write for a long time, didn't they?
Pretty much, yes.
So it explains why you'd go to them.
Yeah. So you are playing Andreas, who works in said scriptorium alongside the monks, but you are an artist. That's why you can read and write, and you are lending your talents to the book workshop. And Andreas is the main character in this, I would say, narrative mystery adventure set in medieval Bavaria around the 1500s, sort of the turn of the revolution, around the time Martin Luther was hammering his protestations on the Catholics' doors. And you are really kind of seeing the impact of that on this town. I guess the hook of the game is that, and this happens fairly early on, although it takes a couple of hours to get to that point, is that a murder happens, a friend of yours is accused of the murder, and then you are going to investigate the murder.
A recently made friend, I might add.
Yes. And you are investigating the murder to try and get him off the hook of it. It is also, I should mention at this point, presented in a very faithful to the time art style. It's, if I say Bayeux tapestry, that's 500 years before the time period, but you can sort of get what I'm after, that kind of medieval illustration. It's done sort of side-scrolling. As much as I've said thus far, I don't go into it thinking it's a murder mystery. Go into it thinking more it is like a night in the woods. You're having a narrative, almost novel experience, and I mean that in the book kind of sense. Yeah. And quite literally, if there's a word you don't understand, it will be underlined in red, and you can press a button, and you'll zoom out to a cool-looking medieval book with a big fingerlonger pointing at the word, and it'll explain what that is, or it'll show you a picture of the person. I don't want to give too much away beyond what I have given, but this was a huge passion project for I believe it's an Obsidian game, isn't it?
It is, yes, Obsidian.
Yeah, and he's been wanting to make, the guy who made it has been wanting to make it for ages, and we've talked about the evils of Game Pass earlier. One of the positives of Game Pass is that this guy had the security to make a game like this, and to know Microsoft would be like, yeah, make whatever you want. We just want to get stuff on our service. So you want to make your weird narrative Bavarian mystery game with like its period faithful
Bavarian Night in the Woods.
Yeah. So he does a lot with, I said, faithful representations. Characters are drawn in styles that best represent them. So the kind of the monks are drawn in a much more kind of traditional religious style. And when people speak, the script, the font that is given to them is written out in a really satisfying, scratchy quill kind of. Don't know if that picked up, but that kind of scratchy quill, and also in a font that suits them. So the religious guys have the kind of the outlined Gothic style that gets filled in. The sort of illegible people who can't read and write have a scratchy handwriting that isn't super easy to read. This may annoy some people. I found it charming enough that occasionally there'll be a mistake made in the font, and it will be scribbled out. I don't know. How do you feel about that, Pedz? Also, there's an accessible legibility option as well, which some people may turn on. I don't know if you turn that on as well. How do you feel about the sort of look of it, Pedz?
I actually really like it. I like the fact that like the peasants have their specific written style. The monks have the Lord guy did. And so on and so forth. And I think the character you play as, I think his is different again to everyone's, isn't there? From my recollection of playing it.
And also, if you learn something about someone, and I thought this person could read because they're a nun, but they can't because they're actually a dumb nun that hasn't been, that just lives in a cell or whatever. She just spends her whole life in this cell because that keeps her closer to God, so she can't read or write. Her font, like after you learn that, gets scribbled out, and she gets drawn back in with the scribbly illegible font because she can't read or write very well. Which is a really cool touch. Or maybe the printer, the guys who own the printing press in town, they have a really fun like ching kind of noise. Because they have the printing press, which is cool. And again, when you learn they own the printing press, it scribbles it out from the scribbly thing to the font. It's just a really nice polish to it.
Is that the family that has the writing like appears upside down and then flips over?
Yeah, that's how a printing press works, right? Because it's the thing.
That's really cool. It's interesting. It's like such a little detail, but it adds to the overall aesthetic of it. Like completely.
And that's what I was saying earlier about the sort of font and legibility being important, because it all ties into the sort of themes of the game, which is changing styles, and Pentiment literally means when a painting which has been painted over gets revealed underneath. I suppose you think of it like when you see those bus adverts that have been like torn away, and you see like a years old Coke advert that still has like the Phantom Menace on it torn underneath all the but that's what Pentiment is, and that's the theme of like building on top of and progression, and it's really cool. I will say that if you don't like a narrative adventure, if you don't like a lot of text, it's not for you. There's no voice acting. You're going to be reading a lot. You're going to be talking to a lot of people. There's a lot of characters to keep track of. Not always the easiest to do it. Every now and then I ran into a sort of scripting issue where it's like, he's still reacting as if I hadn't done a thing when I have done a thing, or occasionally you get the Phoenix Wright syndrome of like, I have everything. Why aren't you saying what I want you to say? Because I've literally got this thing. I've caught you red-handed, and you're like, imagine you walked into someone. This does not happen. I'm just pulling a random example. Stabbing a dude with a knife, and all your character can do is like, hello, how are you? And you that sort of thing. And you're like, ugh. So there's a little bit of that, but all that aside, I do think this is something a little bit special. I did finish it. It's one of those games where you really want to do everything really well. It's got that Pedz will remember this kind of thing, and you want to do the best you can for people, but it's also when you inevitably I do think the game makes it hard to please everyone all the time. They don't I think that is what the game is going for. They want you to struggle. That I appreciate that is the vision of the game creator, but it does feel bad as a player when you're like, oh, I just want to make the peasants happy and now they're sad at me.
Yeah, even early on, like I said, I'm early on. I'm on like day 3. A person is coming from a different area to investigate himself. Something Bishop.
Yeah.
Prince Bishop. Prince. Prince Bishop.
The Archdeacon, Beacon, Abbot man.
Yeah. Well, he's coming. So I've got up to that point now, and even like before this, I've had to like speak to like it's like at a dinner table I was asked whether to speak about something or not, and I spoke, and it's like
Martin Luther.
Don't be speaking about it, and they're not
Martin
happy
Luther
with
me because you know you're eating dinner with the monks, and obviously they are Catholic because that's the religion, and if you the guy who's come in to dinner with you wants to chat about this new Martin Luther guy because he's got some cool ideas. Like maybe when you eat the bread and drink the wine, that isn't the literal body of Christ and the literal blood of wine. Maybe it's just a metaphor to bring you closer, but that's blasphemous. So, you know, that's cool. And it's cool that you feel educated and you're learning about this stuff as you go. Like that is like a thing that happened back then.
Yeah. I'm so far enjoying it. Like, one thing I do ask people who take part, if we haven't finished the game, is would you go back to it? But obviously you finished the game. But I could ask, would you go back to it to try, not so much like play it out differently, see about doing different decisions? But is it that kind of game you would think about doing that with?
I think it's the type of game that one could totally do that with. When you start your character, you know, you get a lot of fun decisions. Like, where did you know, what other language do you speak? Is it Italian? Is it Bavarian or whatever? And that unlocks different things. Can you read Latin better? What skills do you have? Are you into the occult or are you a sexy womanizer?
I did not pick sexy womanizer.
I did.
I didn't. I picked an occultist and a lawyer for some reason.
Oh, I see. I went lawyer and I went the argument man, the one with the bell, like orator. I am not right now. Someone who does the words good. I was the good words man in the game with the peasants. And that was really fun because it's fun because I was thinking like, oh, this is a game where you have to like talk and convince people, so I want that skill. That's cool. So you can totally go back and change the things, and I do think it will be fun to shall we say, see if I can influence the investigation that happens differently and the impact that has on the game down the line, because I don't want to give too much away, but this is a bigger game than you might think. I think 20 hours is probably about right, and you could probably do even more if you're talking to everyone all the time. And as I said, they do a lot with that 20 hours. I think I do think it front loads a lot of the fun, cool stuff. But you are invested in the characters and you want to know where the story goes. I was satisfied by the resolution. I could see an argument for people being like, I won't see any more. I won't say anything more. But I will say that I'm usually a stickler for like, if you're not going to give me a good story, I'm not interested. This gave me a good story. I was happy with the resolution in it. And I was, it's a tough one to play at times because it can be unsatisfying not having things go your way. But I think that is the experience the developers want you to have, because I think if you were alive in those days, things didn't really go your way very much.
Yeah. Well, I made
It
decisions,
feels
and
like,
already I'm not
yeah.
able to do certain things. Like I wanted to dig something up. I don't want to say what specifically, and I was told like no chance.
Okay, I'd see. I don't really know what you're on about there, so that's cool. So that's something different. But to answer your question, I probably won't go back to it myself because it's 20 hours all the way through. I was happy. I was satisfied with the ending and the resolution I got. I feel like this is something a little bit special. If it's your thing, it's gonna be really your thing.
Yeah. Well, so far, like I said, I'm really enjoying it, and like I was interested when I saw it shown like at Gamescom or wherever it was. I can't remember. It was at something. But what really made me think, oh yeah, I'll play it after you mentioned it the other day, is the fact you said, yeah, it's kind of like night. It's kind of like Night in the Woods. Not
Yeah, I
it's
think
that exact thing, but it's like that, and I loved Night in the Woods. So
yeah, I think at first glance you probably would think it's more like I don't know, a Phoenix Wright or something, investigation.
mhm.
But I think having done it all and seeing the broad strokes, and I don't want to give too much away, but yeah, I do think it's more a night or many, many, many nights in the medieval Bavarian woods. Um, and again, I think like you'll have noticed, Pedz, the way like time moves forward when you like decide to do an investigation thing. That's sort of the equivalent of like hanging out with someone in Night in the Woods. And again, if you
Yeah,
like Night in the Woods, you'll like this. You'll have a look at this. If you like your narrative adventures, you will like this.
yeah. I made a terrible mistake though. There was a point after the murder happened that I could talk to people and then stay with someone or go do something else with one of the monks.
Yeah. Yeah.
And thought that the thing to do with the monk was going to be later in the evening. So I hung around with someone to like kind of get some information from them. And then I missed out on the thing with the monk,
Yes,
and I was like, damn it, I wanted to do that.
And it progressed time, and then you couldn't do the thing. I will say, sometimes the game doesn't tread the line of signaling to the player the game mechanics and staying in character very well, in that it opts to stay in character and stay medieval and not necessarily tell you. It'll give you hints of like, this may take a while, but unless you specifically know that like, oh, that means it's going to advance time, you're going to get burned the first time around because you don't know that him being like, oh, looks like this might take a little while. My tip is look at the map. If there's a little investigation symbol, it means that will probably advance time. So decide which of the options you want to do, whether it's go to examine the body or whether it's go to follow the suspicious person or whether it's go to hang out with the town gossip to see if you can get gossip out of them. Those will be icons on the map. You can decide which to do. Talk to everyone. If you're into this will take a lot longer, but do talk to the people who take your fancy, who don't have that symbol on them, because you'll often learn other things, or you'll get like those Aaron will remember this icons that can come in handy later as well.
Yeah.
And as I said, the writing, the characterization is really, really good, and it's just really gives you a nice flavor of what like life would have maybe been like back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing is as well, it's like I had to go and sneak into somewhere. So I did that. And it's like, oh, you'll miss a bit of the morning. And I thought, oh, that's fine. It's a bit of the morning. Like, and then I wake up like dinner time and it's like, wow, I did miss a lot of the day.
Yeah, but I do think
shocked by what happened when I snuck in there right at the end. I was like, shit. So I ran out there, jumped down, almost broke my legs.
I do think that's scripted though, so that you have to like wait that long anyway. But yes, it is. It's. I'm going to spin that into a positive and say it's a testament to the game that you get a bit stressed that so much time passes because you're like, oh, I was going to use that time to do this thing, and now the time's gone.
Yeah, and then I missed out on the day of work that day then because they were like, oh, do you want to come and see us spinning wool? And I was like, yeah, okay. I did that, and I was like, oh, no, I got no time to do any work.
Did you get the achievement for spinning wool faster than the ladies?
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
I think I did.
feel
Anyway.
good.
I got a achievement for spinning more,
Yeah.
so I assume it was for that.
And again, just to take this example, when you go to see the wall, like, because you're an unmarried man, a married man has to be in there with you, or you're not even allowed to go in to hang out with the lady spinning, or you have to stand outside because you're an it's just like nice little touches like that really flesh out the world, and really pull you into the story.
Yeah, it is pretty fascinating actually. Like, and I do intend to carry on with it.
I was going to ask. Do you think you'll finish it? 20 hours.
I do plan on cracking on with it. I don't see why I wouldn't. But like,
I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I tend to finish the games for the podcast. I try to anyway, and if I don't finish it, I tend to go back to them unless I didn't enjoy them, and then I won't bother.
Yeah.
This is what I'm enjoying this. So
I didn't give you much time for this. Apologies.
Well, to be fair, I could have probably played it a lot more. Like, I was in the evenings, I was like, shall I stream or shall I play this game? But because I hadn't started it, I was like,
play what you want to play.
Pokemon. But obviously, I wanted to play it for the podcast, didn't I?
Listen, but listen, we couldn't have said too much more anyway because of spoilers, and you would have just agreed with me because my opinions are right.
Oh, right. Yeah, that, of course. Of course. But in all seriousness now, but seriously, I think my plan was through the week was to stay up. Like, I was planning on, I'll stream for a bit till about 12, and then I'll stay up late and play this game. But then I end up staying up late, and I'm like, I'm too tired, I'm going to bed. And then I end up playing it one day, the other day, and I was like, this is quite fun. It's a bit slow at the moment because it was very early on. It was like the first hour or something I did.
Yeah.
And then today I was playing it, and I got to a point, and I was like, right, the kids are home now, I gotta finish. Carried on going. The kids were home, and I was like, oh, I'll be finished in a minute. I just gotta wait for this bit to end. And the bit ended. I thought, right, I'll go and talk to this person quickly while no one's looking. Yeah, I just gotta finish this bit I'm doing. Carry on with that. And then I go to bed, and then there's this dream sequence. I'm like, I gotta do this as well.
Yeah. It is again, a testament to the game's writing that you want to see what happens. You want
to.
Yeah.
Very good game. I would recommend anyone who has Game Pass to play it. And I recommend anyone who doesn't have Game Pass, try Game Pass.
To get Game Pass. Yeah, you may as well give it a go.
Yeah, there's no reason not to when you got Game Pass at the end of in my opinion. Give what you can a try, because at the end of the day, you're not losing out on anything apart from a little bit of time. And, a couple of hours, it can be a lot for some, I guess, because some people have less time, but I think it'd be worth it if you enjoy something that seems pretty intriguing so far.
Yeah, agreed. I'll say, I think you'll know if this game is for you. And if it is, it really, really is. Give it a go.
Right, that's going to be us. But before we leave, I would like to ask Aaron exactly what he would like to plug. For example, your Twitter, if you want to, Twitch, if you've got a YouTube channel, if you've got a barber's and it's got an address, anything you like.
Of course. Well, thank you so much for having me on, Pedz. This was really, really lovely. I had a great time. I guess if you want to hear more from me, get yourself checked out. And if that still doesn't work, you can get me on twitch.tv/AL1. That's AAYL1. I'm playing a variety of things, a variety amount of times. And I just have a laugh and form various strong opinions about various video games. That's pretty much me.
Yep, and also you have puns as your titles for the stream.
I try. I try and make
get this front ears one.
Yes, Sonic's front ears.
Yeah, I just did not click on because I'm a pleb.
That's the sort of high level humor I'm really aiming for. It's sort of like, if you can't get on board with that, you can get off board.
But so there is Ale's plug. I assume you want to. Do you want to plug anything else?
Oh, that's pretty much me. I'm not doing anything,
Okay, that's fair enough.
You can follow me on G Arcade
Yeah.
/AL1 again. Follow me on there. Check out all my posts. Also, I am on Twitter as well. Aaron AL1, AARON, AYL1.
There you go.
But yeah.
I will
me.
put the links in the description of the podcast.
Yes, and please put the follow button for G Arcade in the description as well, please. I
wish I was able. I don't know if I'm able to do that. I should have a look.
We'll figure it out. It was in my contract. Thank you again, Pedz. This was really, really fun. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks for taking part. It's been a pleasure having you on, and hopefully you would like to take part again in the future.
I definitely would. If I can be around for your Game of the Year thing, which is definitely happening, I will be.
Oh, it's definitely happening. Even if I do it on my own and just talk to myself, pretend to be two different people, I'd be like, so
yeah. It would be cool. It would be cool if we could get a couple of people on, and just chat for a couple of hours. That'd be cool.
I'll be like, hey, Pedz, what do you think of such and such? Well, there, Pedz, I actually really like to play Super Fandango. I don't know what that is, but it's that kind of thing. Anyway, as it's been an hour and 10 minutes, I'm going to say goodbye to everyone. Thank you for listening. This will be out soon. As well, if you listen to this, it's already out. And we'll have to see who's going to be the guest for the next episode. Or maybe it will be the Game of the Year episode next. I have to have a look at the calendar. But for now, catch you later. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.